Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I had a viewer ask me a question that I don't really feel like I had a good answer to. I answered it as best I could, but I kind of have paid more attention to it. And he also had a good suggestion about doing kind of a leveling guide. Now, I thought a lot about it. I didn't sit down and write a script or anything, but I think I can kind of explain my thought process and what it'd be a good way to do things. So first, let's talk about my character and how I got here. So, the first time as soon as I got my beta key, which was less than a month ago, I wanted to play. My favorite class was a bard. That's EQ bard is unique. There's nothing like it in any other game. So bard was the first thing I picked. Then I went with warrior, thinking I wanted the survivability of a warrior, the double attack, triple attack, and whatever. And then last, I went with shaman because shaman is the first class I ever played on original EverQuest. I love the heals, the regens, and Salmon in the late game have some of the best capability of soloing of any class in the game. By the time I reached about level 36, I wasn't killing very quickly. I was wasting a lot of mana, there was a little bit of downtime, so I decided I wanted to swap, and that's when I swapped to Bard, Shadow Knight, and Druid. Now I'm glad I leveled up a Druid thanks to, because they added the ritual system after I'd played a Druid up. So now I permanently have the ability to go to all the Druid ports, and that's going to come back to play when I do my recommendation on what to level and the leveling guide. So I leveled that one straight to 50. And as soon as I hit level 50, once you get to level 50 for the first time, you can select a second class to do for your primary. So for me, doing Bard first, as well as Bards and Enchanters work together in a group, especially if they know each other, because in base EQ, when I played on Teak on one of the TLPs, and I played a Bard, and one of my buddies played an Enchanter, and we did some crazy stuff. Being able to pull three mobs and have two charm pets beat the crap out of one is just hilarious. So Enchanter was my second pick. One of the things they've added from there is most of the classes now have a uh, unique ability that unlocks for that class. You get it starting at level 10, you get level 1, level 50, level 30, you get level 2, and level 50, you get level 3. So enchanters get free mana regen. These don't actually require points. Uh, Wizards apparently get extra critical hit e- extra critical hit chance with direct damage spells. Clerics get exceptional heal chance. Cool stuff. My understanding is shamans get extra critical hit damage. Necros get on dots. Uh, Necros get extra critical hit chance on dots. It's really cool stuff. So let's talk about how I leveled my character up. One of the first things I did, and I got, because of the system of trying to upgrade weapons and items, I didn't know what I was going to get. I was getting a bunch of rusties, didn't have any rate reduction bags, and bards aren't known for their strength. So I wasted points into Pack Rat right off the beginning just to make sure I didn't stay encumbered. I also put points into regeneration just to heal a little faster without having to spend my mana. But for the most part, I put a bunch of points into unique bard abilities. So Symphonic Aura, every level of that costs about 2 points. Symphonic Aura, every level gives you an additional song that automatically plays. I also unlocked all the spell gems. That was another 12 points to max those out to the 14. And then bards also have Instrument Mastery and Singing Mastery and Jamfest. I didn't do Jamfest, but Instrument Mastery and Singing Mastery are 18 points apiece. So I have 48 points that are purely Bard. So right now I'm not even playing Bard. That's 48 points that aren't doing me any good. So the question that I was asked and I didn't have a good answer to was, how many AAs do you gain as you level? I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it the first time I played. I gave him a rough estimate off of my best guess and what I remembered, but my memory isn't all that great. So I've been kind of, since I swapped to this class and I've been leveling it up, I kind of wanted to go through and I'm going to kill some stuff while we do our thing here. Uh, I kind of wanted to pay attention and see what happened. So on this character, started at level 10. If you don't know how the leveling system works, when you first create your character, you pick your primary, your race, your deity, and your primary class, and then you can pick one secondary class up to level 10. Once you go from level 10 to level 11, at level 10 you can pick your third class, but once you go from level 10 to level 11, you gotta lock in that primary class. When your character is created, your race is selected, and you can pick any of the classes off of that race. Up through level 10, you can change to your primary class to any class that race can be. So I went with High Elf Bard. I could have swapped to High Elf Warrior. Or any, not High Elf, Half Elf. But once you hit a level 11, that first class is locked in. And that's the only primary class you can have unless you either A, hit level 50 and get the free unlock token to pick one other class, or you do have the option as well to do quests in the Plane of Sky. All the quests that are up there for the different classes, if you do all of them, you'll unlock class tokens for that class. So in reality, every class, every race, every class you can unlock. To unlock the races, you have to do faction quests. So there's a lot of things you can end up doing, not faction quests, but gain faction with certain factions. Like there's, you got to gain with the Merchants of Kanos, the Guards of Kanos, and the Corrupt Guards of Kanos if you want to unlock humans. And humans have Kanos and Freeport, but that's the Kanos one, and that's the one I know off the top of my head. In my mind, unlocking the different primary classes and unlocking the different races is something I absolutely will do when the game goes live, but being that I'm playing in a beta, that's a lot of time to be investing into something that I could put into trying out different class combinations, which is what is interesting to me in seeing how the classes interact with each other. So when I started this character, I'm going all over the place. When I started this character, I had 170 AAs spent and 2 AAs saved up. Started at level 10. Going from level 10 to level 22, I now have 179 spent with 2 remaining. I've gained 9 AAs in 12 levels. Now imagine the more AAs you have, the slower it ends up going. But all I can really do is just showcase what I have and where it went. Ooh, a shield. How have I never seen that before? We'll loot it. Sidetracked again. Love this game. The other thing to think about when you're first starting out, what I would recommend is for your primary class, pick whatever your favorite is. If you've never played before, take some time. Play around with different ones. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. Like, Monk is one I really want to try out. But I'm waiting until the game goes live and I can kind of be able to swap. Because I think Monk is going to end up being like a primary for a certain blend I'm going to try. So Bard was my favorite. I picked Bard. Bard goes well with everything. So Bard's not a bad choice. But I think when the game goes live and I have to do it again, I'm probably going to pick Warrior. And not because I think Warrior is super exciting. It's probably one of the most boring classes by itself, because there isn't a whole lot you can do, and disciplines aren't in the game yet. But Warrior kind of goes with everything, and Warrior has extra survivability, it can kind of go with every class. Plus, Warrior doesn't have a whole lot of AAs that are specific to just Warrior. I think the next class I would probably pick would be Cleric, just because even though Cleric doesn't have complete heal, it was removed from the game, the Promised Renewal is effectively complete heal, and it has the advantage of the half a second cast time, so you're unlikely to get interrupted, and very you're unlikely to get interrupted, and it still does a complete heal amount. Third class, I would pick a porting class. Doesn't matter which one, whichever one you prefer, but I would pick a porting class because my thought process is utilize the rituals for the next time you level up. Plan for the future. And when you're going through the second time, you're going to want to be able to port around. It's going to make life that much easier. So that's how I'm probably going to do it in the second one. I'll level Bard up as one of my secondary classes the second playthrough. Or I might make it the primary the second time. The other thing to think about as far as trying to level up, I think 1 to 10, my experience is I was trying out different combinations to go with Bard, and I tried Beast Lord, I tried Berserker, I tried Shaman. I ended up landing on Warrior, and Warrior was actually how, Bard Warrior was how I ended up getting to level 10. During those first 10 levels, every class levels. When you gain a level, all 16 classes level for you. But that stops at level 10. Another thing that happens as you level up, you will be, if you're playing classes that have spells, you'll be auto-granted certain spells. Basically the ones that kind of define your character, your class. So like, if you're playing a healer, you get your heals. If you're playing a shaman, you'll get like your dots. Things like that. You're not guaranteed. You won't get all the spells, so you'll still have more you'll have to go back and get later. So how I would start is do your newbie area, play around, find a class or find a primary class that you really want to stick with. If you want to have the most options, pick human. I know it's kind of boring, but humans can be everything, I think, except for Beast Lords and Shaman. So if you want to be able to try out a whole bunch without having to continually delete and reload your character, start out as a human. Find the one that you like and stick with it. And then pick 2 secondaries that are going to be useful for later on. So like I said, I'm probably going to do Cleric because I definitely want to have a healer. I might do Enchanter. So it would be Warrior, Enchanter, Druid would be what I'd do because I won't, particularly in the beginning when you don't have a whole lot of gear, you want a healer. So the first place I would start, one of the things that's going to end up being a sticking point for you, particularly in the beginning, if you have a lot of caster classes, is the only real plat sink, the only real bottleneck for money in this game is having to buy spells. And there's an advantage to it as well. Like right now, because I've done the Tartan's Wheel quest, I'm a level 22 wizard, but I have scribed every single wizard spell. I never have to go back and buy any more. I can't use them until I'm leveled up high enough to be able to, but I already have them. I already have all the Paladin spells too, which was kind of funny considering I'd already played through as a cleric. There was exactly 10 spells I needed to buy. But Paladin's done. And I would recommend trying to buy like 10 levels in advance so you're not always having to run back. Particularly if you're playing something like you're a half-elf, but you're playing the shaman as one of your characters and you have to run to Hallis or out to Wrath Mountain to the Frog Logs. Save yourself some time. So one of the things you're really going to struggle for in the beginning is just platinum money. So first place I would go I'd start an unrest the first time you're playing through. Just because they do drop bronze there. It's a good way to get a little bit of money up. Great. And then after Unrest, I'd say move to Mistmore, where I'm at right now. And once you're about 25, 26, depending on your class setup, you can kind of spread out and go other places. Like right now, realistically, I could go fight in Lower Guck, and we might go do that here in a little bit, but I'm trying to avoid going to Lower Guck if I can. For as long as I can. It'd be a great place for this combo, but I just spent on the previous combo, I went from level 24 to level 50 in Lower Guck. As much as I like Lower Guck, I kind of want to see something else for a while. And I think that's one of the cool parts of this as well. There's really not a wrong answer. You're three classes in one. You're a lot stronger than you think you are. You don't go into this thinking that you're going to suffer the same problems that you would have in vanilla EQ. You can take a lot harder things than you think. Like, I started hearing... Now, because I was geared, I started hearing Mistmore on this character at level 10. The mobs in this opening area are level 18 and higher. So, you can take some things. Now, I'm geared, so I can kind of skip around. Your first time playing through, you want to do Unrest. Second and third, I wouldn't even go to Unrest. Unless you're fighting down in the bottom. Save yourself some trouble. You'll gain AAs as you level. I would recommend kind of going toward things to maximize your efficiency. I went for every way possible that I can critical. Critical Affliction for dots, Healing Boon for heals, Combat Fury, and for melee attacks, and Destructive Fury for DDs. I did them all, because it just makes sense. It doesn't always proc, it doesn't always guarantee anything, but it makes it where you'll have you can be a little more efficient about everything you do just randomly, and that's powerful in its own right. The other side of that and is you want to kind of do things that are going to benefit every character you play, particularly in the beginning. So mana regen, hit point regen. Go for things that benefit every character, not just the one you're on. Now, the other side of that is if it's for your primary class, absolutely. Those I would invest in, because you're going to play that and you'll swap out the other two. After you do Mistmore, you can kind of either go take like 25. I'd probably leave Mistmore unless you're camping for items in the bottom, like the earring or like your Mistmore battle drums. I would leave Mistmore, and then you can either go to Runny Eye, and you should be able to get to mid-30s in Runny Eye, or you can go ahead and start in Lower Guck. Lower Guck will take you all the way up. But Lower Guck is usually heavily camped, which isn't really that big of a problem. If you're trying to get experience, it can be frustrating. But, or if you're trying to get experience, it can be frustrating just because there's a ton of... You're not going to find many mobs up. But now that solo instances are in this, even that's not an issue. If you're struggling to find mobs, create your own instance. Now, let's talk about the instances. You have 5 difficulties for every zone that you go into. And there's separate instances. The enemies up will be completely different. What I would recommend is find the difficulty you can reliably fight on without it taking super long, and turn out mobs and play on the highest difficulty you can. I wouldn't, generally for leveling, unless you've got a group of people you normally play with, I wouldn't go for 4. 4 is slow. Most of the enemies you fight, like this guy right here is a warrior berserker, you can see right here on his class. The more classes they have, the more health they have, the longer it takes to kill them. So fighting on 4 almost everything is going to be a double class. I would avoid trying to grind experience on that, unless you got a group you run with. How grouping works in this, you got 4 to 8 people. 4 people is the maximum size of group, 8 is the maximum size of a raid. For each additional person in your group, it evenly splits the experience. So if you got 2, you both get half the experience per kill. If you got 3, everybody gets a third. If you got 4, everybody gets a quarter. And it should work out considering with 4 people you should be able to kill 4 times as fast. You're not really going to see much of a difference. The advantage of that is if something drops because of the way they've done it, everybody will also get a chance. Everybody will get a drop. Loot is completely individual. You don't have to fight over it. So if you're in an area and you're wanting to go to a specific mob, there's no reason not to join up with anybody else who comes by. No reason to fight over it. And if there's a full group there, you can't get in, create your own instance. Bring your friends. No reason to fight. And that eliminates one of the biggest frustrations I have in EQ. If it's your absolute first time thinking about it, they have done a lot of upgrades to Befallen. There's a lot of decent items that drop there, so if you're worried about equipment, go to Befallen. If you're worried about just getting money up, go to Unrest. And that's going to depend on what classes you decide to pick. If you picked a lot of casters, you're going to be worried about spells. I would say Unrest. You can always go back through Befallen the second time you play through. Once you've got all that done, your goal after leaving Mistmore and then heading to Lower Guck or Sol B or whatever higher end zone there is to get to the 46. Once you hit 46, you can start going to the plains. Plane of Hate you can gain experience on, and as you kill things, you can hopefully get your planar armor, which is going to be your best drops that are currently in this. The other thing, so that would be my goal. Start out, you're either going to go to Unrest if you're wanting money, Befallen if you're wanting gear with stats, then move to Mistmore or Running Eye, depending on where you are. You can hit Temple of Kazakh around level 30. You can try to get a Rubicite breastplate because that actually does drop in this, and it does have hit point regen. And then you're going to try to go to Lower Guck or Sol B to get to level 46, and then you're going to hit the plains. That would be the path I would take. The first time leveling through, play classes that are going to benefit you for the remainder of your time. I'd say pick your favorite class to be your primary, because that's the one you can't easily swap, and then have the other 2 be things that are going to benefit later on. So first time through, pick a porting class. Pick a good healer. Pick enchanter. Pick some kind of class that's really going to benefit you later on and make more combinations possible for you. So, and then the second playthrough, you should be able to literally play whatever you want. And second playthrough is going to be way easier, and you're going to be able to skip a lot of things. Like, I'm 22 right now. I'm about to go to Lower Guck. I shouldn't even be thinking that, but I can take it, especially having Paladin as my primary. So, thank you guys for watching in. I hope this helped and gave you some idea. I know I've been kind of rambling and all over the place, but I hope it was at least somewhat informative for you. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.